on, you guys? It's Jason here again. I'm glad everybody came out to watch this video. This is Firearm Ministries. We're gonna have tons of extra videos, but for those who are watching for the first time and you don't know what we do, pretty much we're a ministry where you can be able to watch and share videos with your friends, family members. We're going to talk about the power of God. We talk about the supernatural. We talk about a whole array of things. So I hope you're ready. And we're about to dive right into this word. Today we're going to talk about a hot topic that's called how to hear the voice of God. You know, a lot of people out there, you may be, in situations in your life, or you may be even right now just watching this video, just surfing the internet, and you just fell upon this video, or you don't believe in God, and you're like, man, how can I know if God even exists? Well, that's what this video is about. So we're going to dive right into it and just really eat this up. And I encourage those out there, make sure you have some notes. Take some notes, write the scriptures down so it can enrich your spiritual life and things like that. And remember, if you also want to bless what we're doing and have us to continue what we're doing, you should look at the bottom of the title of this, in the description panel. You'll be able to see where you can be able to bless the ministry and give online and things like that. We got free sermons, you guys. Everything out there is free for you. So make sure you download it, share it, and let the revival start with you. So, and just a little bit of my background, a lot of people don't know this, but for years, I've been in ministry, and if you heard my testimony, where it was, before I married my wife, I was 10 years celibate, no sex, masturbation, nothing like that in my life, and I was, just letting God use me. I went into high schools, middle schools. I used to work for an agency where I would go and teach about sexual abstinence, waiting to have sex till you get married, believe it or not. And I went into the high schools, middle schools, colleges, man, and just told my story. I came from a lifestyle of drugs, alcohol, sex, sexing females, and just really going all out when it comes to perversion and sex, and I was known for that. 3, 4 women at one time and all that stuff. But God dramatically saved me, and I was teaching that in high schools, middle schools, and a lot of people even got saved. I gave out bracelets where men and young ladies years later would wear those bracelets. So it's just all about the testimony of the glory of God, and I have preached in churches and on the street, and things like that, and I'm on both type of settings. So right now, what I'm doing, even today, I just wanted you to know who I am and have a little bit of background, because some of you guys may not even know, well, who is this guy with dreads? Can a Christian even have dreads? I see his tattoo. Can a Christian even have a tattoo? So all those things or whatnot. God could use you just the way you are, and that's it. Even a God like me, I've seen the dead raised. I've seen people healed from physical illnesses. God has used me to speak words about the future. All those type of things, and it's coming from the most unlikely of a person. So so that's the thing, But so just wanted to give that quick little rundown of who I am and what I do. But let's get right into it. We're going to talk about how to hear the voice of God. Now, here's the thing. I want to really talk. Now, you got to come closer for this. A lot of people. One thing I learned about God is this. Do not put him in a box. I'm going to say that again. Do not put God in a box. The reason being is because throughout the whole Bible, God has spoken in many, many different ways. But it was always for the purpose of something. And if you look at the scripture, it was always, God always spoke for him to lead you to himself. Always. I'll give you some examples. He used a donkey You know, a lot of men of God say, oh yes, God used me to speak the word, oh, and that's great. But have in your mind that God, the same thing he's doing in you, he used a donkey to do. So if he used a donkey to speak his word, if you read about the story with Balaam, you know, he was a false prophet or whatnot, but God used a donkey to rebuke him. You know, it should make us, you know, even leaders out there, you know, it should make you humble. So God can use anybody. He can use anybody. You know, there's no big I here. There's no little I there. God can use anybody to bring his word across. I'll give you another example. He used a storm. If you read about Jonah in the Bible, in the Old Testament, there was a prophet named Jonah, where there was a. I'm just going to make the story short. The storm was so great that the people who did not even believe in Jonah's God, who's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Jehovah, the people who didn't even believe, they said there's got to be something that a higher deity is trying to tell us. And they was, to make a long story short, they was casting lots, and they found out that it was Jonah's God. And if you look at the end of that little story, they repented from the idols they were serving to serve the God of Jonah, which is the God that we serve today, Jesus Christ, you know, the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So that ought to show you something, that God can use many different things so he can speak. But the main way he speaks is through the Bible, through his word. Now he can use things outside of, you know, like with nature or situations, or, you know, some people, I talked to a guy recently, he said, man, he wasn't even saved or even believed in Jesus stuff, but he wasn't even saved, and he went through a car accident where it was total, straight up total. I mean, the car was just mangled, and he got out of there saying, how did I make it out alive? And right there, that's when God began to work in his heart. And he said that, you know, I started believing, and, you know, situations happened, but God used that situation to bring him to a place where he started to open his heart toward God. Some people you watching today, you know, you came across this video, you're like, man, you know, how do I hear even from God? You know, how do I even know God even exists? How do I even know that God is even real? Let me tell you something. God brought you here to this video today to let you know he's real. And how? If you look at situations back in your past or in your life, you will see little things where you could have died in this situation. Or this situation could have ended up being bad for you, but it ended up turning around some way, somehow for your good. That was God giving you, it's like light bulbs from heaven. You know, when you get an idea and you're like, oh man, I got a new idea. That's what God kind of drops on you. See, maybe God does exist. Maybe there is someone out there, that, you know, they call it karma, but it's really the Lord Jesus Christ drawing people to him. The Bible says that God, he draws. It's only the Father that draws you to the Son. God is a God where he draws you to him. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to go over to Luke chapter 24, verse 13. Now, here's the thing about this. You know, people ask, why you always go to the scripture? Because in the scripture, you can always see an example of how God moved at that time, which was like 2,000 years ago when Jesus existed, and how he's moving today. You know, in this story, we're going to read about the disciples, where after Jesus died, it's like they threw away their beliefs. You know, and because it was so traumatic what happened to them, that they see their leader. You know, think about it. Your leader, the person you look up to, your mentor, you know, or someone you really considered, you know, high esteemed, or you really looked up to them. They're gone. What would that do? You know, some of us even out there, you know, you either a gangster or a young lady out there. You probably was a stripper, you know, or you used to do some, you know, bad things or whatnot. You used to cut yourself or think about suicide. If you look at those points, it's because of an area in your life where you lost something. And that's what happened here. Those that's watching, that you felt like you lost something. You lost either a family member or a father who should have been in your life, or somebody that you looked up to and they just left you. That's what we're going to read about. And how God even speaks, even in those situations. So it says, now that same day, 2 of them were on their way to the village called Amos, which was about 7 miles from Jerusalem. Together they were discussing everything that had taken place, and while they were discussing and arguing, Jesus himself came near and began to walk with them, but they were prevented from recognizing him. See, now they didn't even recognize him. The thing is that that's what happens in our lives today. It's like you're going through a traumatic time in your life, and God He's around you. He's there, but you don't even recognize him. And that's happened to me too. I felt times like that where I was just like, God, are you even here, yo? God, are you even listening to me? You know what I'm saying? Are you even paying attention to what my prayers are? And let me tell you something. God is paying attention, and He is there, even though when you don't realize it. What I found out when I came through a lot of situations where it was a lot of pressing things going on in my life. When I look back, I noticed that God was there. Now He may not have been there in the way I wanted Him to, but He was there. And that's the thing. You may want God to come through for you, and which is good, but He may not come through the way you want Him to come through. He'll come through, but not in the way you want Him to. Why? Because He has a higher purpose. That purpose, we human beings, we can't see everything. We don't know everything. And that's the problem. We want to see everything. We want to know everything. But at times, in your life, it doesn't work like that. Life can throw curveballs at you. And it doesn't matter if you know McGuire. He can't, you can't hit the home runs, when life throws those kind of curveballs at you. But one thing I love about God is that no matter what type of curveball life throws at you, He is there. And He has something special up His sleeve for your life, so you can make it through your trying time in your life, if you just recognize it. So let's read on. It says, then we asked them, what is this dispute that you're having with each other as you are walking? And they stopped walking and looked discouraged. The one named Cephas answered him, are you the only visitor in Jerusalem who doesn't know what that happened there in these days? What things? He asked them. That's verse 19. And Jesus already knew what happened, but every time God asks us a question, it's always to reveal something. For example, Adam and Eve. You look at Adam and Eve and what they went through or whatnot in the garden. He asked them, who told you were naked? God knew who told them, but He wanted them to recognize the state they were in. And that's one thing that even in this verse, when He asked them what things, when they would tell Him, I want you to recognize what began to happen. See, because God, in the midst of what you're going through and the turmoil you're going through, God will always have you to pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to what's going on inside of you. In other words, the complaining, or if you're a believer, that your character, or if you're an unbeliever, or you don't even believe in God. Look at your heart toward God, the anger. Some people, they say, I don't even believe in God because they're angry. But if their hearts were open, I challenge you. How about opening your heart to see if maybe you could be wrong? Instead of having all this anger. And if you notice, a lot of the anger that has took place is always because, it's usually, most of the time, because of someone who misrepresented God to you. Don't blame God for someone else misrepresenting him. You know, don't blame God. In other words, the Bible is true, but don't blame. You know, I heard one saying, I don't know who's the person, but someone said this. It said, Jesus they love, but some of his representatives are, you know, kind of, kind of twisted in a sense. But there are a lot of people out there who say they're representing God or say they're a true believer, but they're not living like it. But I challenge you, like what happened to me. I asked God one day, Lord Jesus, show me you're real. And he showed me he was real. Right then, at home, nobody there, I asked the Lord, show me that you're real. And he showed that he was real. And I really didn't even believe in this, you know, God stuff. So that's the thing, you know, recognize your condition. You know, have your heart open. So that's what they did. If you notice, they opened up to a total stranger. The second part, which is finishing up verse 19. It says, so they said to him, the things concerning Jesus the Nazarene, who was a prophet, powerful in action and speech before God and all the people, and how our chief priests and leaders handed him over to be sentenced to death, and they crucified him. But we were hoping that he was the one who was about to redeem Israel. Besides all this, it's the third day since these things happened. Moreover, some women from our group astonished us. They arrived early at the tomb, verse 23, and when they didn't find his body, they came and reported that they had seen a vision of angels who said he was alive. Now see, notice here, they had a preconceived mentality concerning Jesus, right, and what he was going to do for Israel. But it totally shocked them. And that's one thing, you know, that I was saying even to those out there that, see, don't have your heart just focused on one way, how you want God to speak to you. You know, God, yes, he speaks through his word, but he can speak to you through your life circumstances. Some of us out there, you know, and I feel this on my spirit, there's somebody out there, it's a young lady, you're asking God about marrying this guy, right? But you're not paying attention to the signs of God showing you that this is not the person for you. For example, if he's slapping the taste out your mouth, I don't think that's the one that God wants for you. You know, if he's abusing you, I mean, come on, you know, Jesus doesn't abuse his people. So if that person doesn't have God's heart and they are abusive, either emotionally or physically, you need to get out of that situation.